The NBA is out of balance. You're in a better spot when there's more of a balance, where the three-point shot is part of the game, not the entire game.
It's a modern NBA. It's a different world. It's a different game.
The NBA's three-point revolution has reached its peak. Just look at the biggest storyline of this NBA season. It is not the OKC Thunder or Cleveland Cavaliers being on pace to break the Warriors' 73-9 record. It is not Memphis playing great without using pick and rolls, but the product itself becoming unwatchable. I think that take is absurd, but look around. The TV ratings are down, and the YouTube videos talking about it get thousands of views. Even the biggest talking heads covering the league with millions of viewers are shitting on the game we all love. From inside the TNT crew,
because I'm tired of seeing that damn top of the key, three-man weave, dribble hand, pick off the shooter.
I think
I'm tired of seeing two guys stand in the corner, run here, and then run to the other corner.
The one team you mentioned earlier.
to local commentators reacting to teams starting games by only taking threes for a couple minutes straight.
7, not too different from last year, but it feels different. They go inside, Horford underneath, and a nice assist by Tatum.
Really nice pass, and our first two-point attempt of the night.
And it worked, and it went in.
Isn't that amazing?
You can have an inside game.
And somehow, the same team is always taking blame for ruining the game. The reigning champions Boston Celtics. First, let's try to understand where the hate is coming from. The Celtics are attempting 50, yeah, you heard that right, 50 threes a night. If the season ended today, that would be an all-time high, beating the previous record set by that 2018-19 Houston team with James Harden by more than 5 threes per game. That is a major turnoff for a lot of people watching. However, it is pretty ironic because when the Spurs used the same excellent ball movement in 2014, people did not really have a problem. Quite the opposite. Those clips of San Antonio looking for a great shot instead of a good shot were praised as the most beautiful basketball ever witnessed. Also, when the Splash Brothers in Golden State took moving without the ball and shooting threes to another level a couple of years later, it was also the most entertaining thing NBA could offer. But then Daryl Morey and his analytics crew started a major shift in basketball, where any spot-up three-pointer is better than any other shot in the game except for a wide-open layup or a free throw. 6 years later, Boston have mastered this style of play to a degree where people publicly hate it. My guess, part of the reason of why people loved San Antonio and Golden State yet despise Boston is because their possessions look so similar every time. Everything starts with trying to involve the smallest guy or the weakest link defensively. Early pick here gets McConnell on Tatum, and that's a problem. Now look at the spacing. Horford cuts inside while 3 guys stand around the perimeter with Pritchard and White way behind the three-point line. Help obviously comes, but this is exactly what Boston want. They don't want a floater from White here, they want a catch-and-shoot three, and they are the best team at not only finding it, but making it too. The next clip is an even better example. Indiana are in zone here, and Tatum splits the 2 defenders at the top and is open right at the free throw line. He could easily throw up a floater or go for a contested layup, but he does not want that. Why? Because that's a math-based decision in real time. A floater or a mid-range are lower quality shots in terms of points per possession. Thanks to Hardwood Paroxysm Substack, Tatum is scoring 1.09 points per possession on his drives and 0.96 on dribble jumpers. Meanwhile, a spot-up from any of the Celtics generate 1.19 points per possession. On average, each team gets around 100 attacks per game, meaning Tatum here jumping in the air and looking for a catch-and-shoot three is a 20-point swing in favor of the Celtics. That's quick maths for you, and that is why the Celtics keep winning games. Of course, a huge key to Boston's success is having 2 tall wings in Brown and Tatum creating havoc on every possession. Their combination of size, speed, and skill often requires more than one player in front of them. Here, Tatum seems to have Gobert beaten on this crossover, and Edwards helps near the rim. He leaves Derek White open, who of course makes another catch-and-shoot three. By committing to help here, Edwards plays himself into the unfavorable side of this math equation. If it's not a blow-by, Tatum is scoring around 1 point per shot in this situation against Gobert. If he goes to help and Tatum kicks it out, White's spot up means it's around 1.3 points per shot, extremely favoring the Celtics. Now, repeat that for 100 possessions and you start to understand why the Celtics are winning so many games. There is also another POV of this conversation surrounding threes. Why do NBA teams not take more twos, especially when the threes are not falling? Recently, there were 2 instances where even the commentators were shocked by the amount of threes taken, again, in games involving Boston. In the same one against Minnesota, teams went 1 for 9 to start the game while attempting the first 2-pointer only after 2 minutes and 43 seconds have passed. In a match versus Toronto, teams looked allergic to twos in the beginning. It took 2 minutes and 47 seconds for both teams to attempt a field goal closer to the rim than the 3-point line, as it was also the first made basket in that match. Concentrating on threes can get uglier for short stretches. Despite letting it rain from deep like no one else in the league, Boston are not in the top 10 percentage-wise. But if you look at the big picture, by concentrating on getting easy layups like here after the opponent's mistakes and chucking up so many quality long-distance shots, helps Boston to win the math battle. They are 5th in the league if we look at the true shooting percentage, which is most reliable stat when talking about field goal shooting. But when I saw this next stat, I understood why so many teams are trying to copy the Celtics and why there is no way back unless the NBA does something about the rules. Boston are so good at generating points from spot-up threes is ridiculous. Thanks again to hardwood paroxysm, this chart looks at just points made off catch-and-shoot threes versus points allowed on the same shot. Boston scores 10 points more of those in each game on average and are basically starting every game with a built-in math advantage. That is why having all 5 guys that can shoot with 2 players creating advantages should be a go-to for any NBA team right now. This is how almost every Celtics possession looks like. ISO by Tatum or Brown against the weakest or smallest defender with 4 guys around the perimeter. You go double, dominoes start falling, and trust me, the Celtics will find a shot they want. And that shot is a catch-and-shoot three. You just saw Brown posting up Halliburton. And the funny part of that clip is that Indiana and other 20 teams in the NBA see that mismatch and go help or double. And I don't blame them. Jaylen Brown has the 7th highest points per possession in post-ups this season and 1.13. He is a killer there, but let me remind you, a Celtic catch-and-shoot three has even higher average point per possession. And same goes with Jason Tatum and his ISOs. He is in the top 3 for the highest PPP in 1v1 situations at a staggering 1.2 points per possession. And often, he just cooks the defender and scores an easy layup. So naturally, when there is a chance, teams send help, but the Celtics' spacing and shooting is so good, the math is in their favor when their opponents actually do that. Boston's extreme math approach and numbers from distance have made enormous influence around the league. Teams and players see these stats and they start changing their game, thinking it's the only way to stay competitive. Hence, why the league looks more similar than ever before and why for some fans it is the reason to stop watching. For example, Anthony Edwards, recognized for his dunks and mid-range jumpers in his early years, is now taking 10 threes per game, up from only 5.5 last season. Both LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller lead the league looking at changes from last season, and it comes with no surprise. From this summer, the Hornets are coached by Charles Lee, who just won a championship as an assistant with, surprise surprise, the Boston Celtics. So the threes have taken over, and I agree that there are a lot of bad copies of the Celtics throughout the league. Some don't have the necessary talent. others, the necessary spacing, so those teams hoisting up random threes at the first glance possible is not beautiful. But at the same time, NBA has always had bad teams each season. Yeah, they may have been bad differently, but they were bad anyway. So instead of us concentrating on those teams taking a lot of threes, we should focus on OKC, Houston, the Cavs, or Memphis, or many other teams playing phenomenal basketball in their own style. Enjoy the last years of greatness from Steph and LeBron, or follow Wemby's insane path and Jokic's brilliance, because this is the most talent NBA has ever had. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to support our growing channel by hitting like and subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.